This is the profile history dot path tutorial. I had a couple of feature requests come in the past several months, and I kind of waited for a while, and I ended up collecting them all together and putting them all together all at once. And one of the features that was requested was the ability to notify users upon profile field changes. And I didn't want to implement that where it was a blanket change, so you have to actually select individual fields to trigger a notification. And where that's done in the plugin is here under field identifiers. If you enable notify user, then you choose which fields will trigger a notification. Now these are fields that I've put in there, so you can see what the settings look like. It's just a word followed by a dot followed by another word, or it's just a word. I don't believe it's ever going to be three long. 1 and 2 is pretty normal for the system. I don't believe I've ever seen anything that would make it go 3, but I mean, I could be wrong. So let's show you where you get that data from. When you're editing a user profile, you're going to get that dot path from the individual fields that are within the profile edit screen. So, for example, if you are looking at the user and you want to notify them when a password changes, then you'll right-click on the password field, choose Inspect, and this works in Chrome and Firefox. I'm sure Safari has something like this. I don't use Safari that much. Internet Explorer also has a facility to inspect the page, and it varies per version. So what you do is you right-click and you inspect the field, and you find its name attribute, and the dot path is every word contained within square brackets. You just join them together with a dot. So for password, it's a super easy one. There's only one word, so there are no dots to join the multiple words together. It's just password. So the dot path for the password field is just password. Now there's some caveats to this. If you select the wrong field, you might not get a trigger. So for example, I want to trigger on password, I would not inspect and get the dot path from the confirm password field, because that's not an actual field that gets stored in the system. That's a field that's calculated against. So it's a comparison. So if you're having a problem getting a particular field to trigger, take a look that you're not giving the wrong dot path, that you haven't chosen the dot path from the wrong field, or something else. I created the dot path system within this plugin in order to, I didn't create the dot path system. I used a dot path system. Somebody else created it. I used the dot path system in order to accommodate for any possible plugin field value. Any profile field value. Because all the profile fields have to have those names in brackets, and that's exactly how my plugin identifies changes. So let's move along to another type that might be confusing. So user groups. This is a good one. If I inspect this, you'll see that there's this extra bracket, this extra empty set of square brackets on the name field, and the reason for that is because multi checkbox fields are submitted as an array. So if you run across something where you're looking for the dot path, and there's a word followed by an empty set of brackets, just ignore the empty brackets. They don't mean anything to my plugin. Just combine the words within brackets from the field name, and you'll be fine. So to notify on changes for groups, it's just groups. Let's go to something a little more complex. These are the front end params that there's an option to display this. It's a good example though, because it offers two things. Each of these fields is handled by a JavaScript called Chosen, which takes a standard HTML select or multi-select and turns it into this pretty display. It makes it consistent across all browsers. It's a cool JavaScript, but it changes the output. So if you right-click and inspect this, it's not going to give you the input you're looking for. In this case, it gives you a span. What you want to do on any field that has been processed by Chosen, and you can tell by looking at the classes of its surrounding parts here. So this one you see CHZN single, and up here in the div it's CHZN container. So you know that Chosen has manipulated this field. All you have to do is look above that to the next regular form input, which in this case is a select. Actually, pretty much anything Chosen deals with is going to be a select. It's going to be a select single or a select multiple. And then at that point, you're going to go back just like any other input field, and you're going to find the name attribute, and you're going to piece together a dot path based on any of the names that are within brackets. So in this case, it is params.admin_style. That's the dot path for this field right here, backend template style. So editor. We find it's a Chosen, so we scroll up a little bit to find the select ID. And here it is. Params.editor is the dot path for this input. Let's go over here to General. General is a tab that is created by the new Joomla custom fields plugin for users. So I created a field group called General, and I created two fields, mobile number and receive text message, and place them within General. So this is a standard text field input, just like anything we saw on account details up here. If we inspect it, any field that's created by the custom fields extension is going to be com_fields dot, and this second identifier is something you created when you created the field. So in my case, this dot path is going to be com_fields dot mobile-number. Okay, and another example of something that might strike a little strange is the radios. If you have a radio button set, pardon me, let me back that out here. This doesn't look like a radio button. What it is a special style that's been applied. You'll probably see this around Joomla, but if you inspect it, you'll find pretty quickly that it is a radio button. So there's a radio there and a radio here. Now the thing about radio buttons is because radio buttons are a single select of a multiple group. It's kind of like a checkbox, only just one can be selected. These are going to be like checkboxes. They'll all have the same name. So you'll notice that this input is the same as this input. The values are different. So value is 0, value is 1. It doesn't matter which one you choose. If you want to trigger on this field, even though there are multiple fields here, it doesn't matter which one, because you'll see that the names are the same. So for a radio button, just find one of them and construct your dot path. So in this case, it's going to be com_fields dot receive text message with dashes. No, I'm not gonna repeat it. You can see it. I'm recording in HD for your benefit. Let's close that and move down here to user profile. This is an example of a Joomla user profile plugin. This is the example plugin that's included with Joomla. It's not really meant to be used. However, it's a convenient plugin for me to demonstrate how this works, how this dot path works. So we're able to choose any field, right-click, inspect, and it's just like any other area. You're going to look for the name. You're going to find the values that are in brackets, profile, address1. So it's profile.address1 is the dot path for this field. If you wanted to do the entire address, you'd have to do the dot path for here, for address, address to, city, region, country, postal zip code. So doing a dot path for one field is gonna relay change informations for only that field. So I can't possibly predict every plugin storage method or strange thing that a developer might do. So if this dot path method is not working for one of your field types for something custom you've done, please let me know. I would like to make my extensions as useful as possible to as many people as possible. So if it doesn't do something because of something somebody's done, some weird configuration they've made in their extension, let me know, and I will try to accommodate it. Thank you. Bye-bye.